I grew up the oldest of 4 kids. I had a really good upbringing, childhood, lots of positive experiences with the church and everything. Part of learning about leadership, even as a kid, is I do have a really strong mom who was involved in the church and in the school world and had leadership roles that way. So I got to watch her and learn from her. After college, I went into teaching, and even the teaching world, I ended up being handed leadership roles and positions that I didn't ask for. And I don't know why, because when I think back on my childhood, it never really occurred to me that I could be in leadership. I think I had a lot of voices speaking into my life, encouraging me of the things that I was good at, including my parents, my church, and things like that. But it definitely wasn't overt that I could lead in a church context. It never came up. I definitely, would look around, and it didn't seem like there was a lot of women in leadership in church. I didn't consciously think about it at all until years later. And so I do think there was just this overall idea that there were only certain places where women could serve. So I never went looking for leadership. That wasn't who God created me for. I didn't have a burning desire to lead things. When I married John in our early 20s, of course, we're very young. We didn't know a lot. But one thing we did learn early on is that I have a gift to lead, but that's not John's gift. We're very different. We're very different people. And even in personality, I can be very strong. I remember one of the first fights we had was about our weekends because, and this is embarrassing to admit, but I would completely plan our weekends, everything, and then tell him what he was doing that weekend. And it's kind of a silly example, but it does show where this tension existed. I've had to go to scripture with that tension, because little fights, but also big fights and big issues, and recognizing that even though it's more complex than just the man is the head of the home, end of story, it's not that cut and dry. It's not that easy. And so we've had to figure out what that means, what that looks like in our family. And so especially this last couple of years, honestly, we've had some really big issues where I have had to, again, trying to follow Jesus the best I can and respect my husband and let him lead in ways that it would be my natural personality to lead and take charge and make decisions. And I've had to learn to let him lead. And I've learned that there's a reason that Jesus wants us to live that way in respect to each other. So when I first started joining up at Trace and getting involved at Trace, and I was invited into these leadership roles, I had to really wrestle with what I believed about women in leadership. There's these passages that we read about women in leadership, and they're so confusing sometimes that it's easier to just kind of gloss over it. And I've been really challenged and encouraged to explore, how God created me uniquely. Ironically, my sweet spot is that I'm a very flexible, can do a lot of different things. I don't have one sweet spot, apparently, but that's just sitting down with someone, and male or female, but in my case, it was a male leader who just believed in me and saw things that he felt like God could use at Trace, that God could use for his kingdom, and calling those things out in me. I've also been really blessed with a husband who supports me and believes in me and has always seen those things and encouraged those things and supported my role at Trace. I think there's a lot of women who feel like they can't lead in the church in a lot of capacities because, first of all, maybe no one ever told them that they could. Maybe she's not doing it because she has been hurt by men in leadership or other women in leadership. I mean, we can hurt each other too, for sure. And so that hurt holds her back. Maybe it's because she thinks she can't lead because she doesn't have kids, or she can't lead because she does have kids, or she can't lead because she's supposed to be focusing on her marriage, or because she's not married. All of these reasons that women feel like they can't lead. It's pretty obvious that Jesus wanted women to lead. He was the only one in his day saying things like, go and tell your story, go and tell my story. And he was saying it to women. I mean, that was revolutionary. I'm blown away by the privileges and the responsibilities that Jesus gave women that he knew. He asked them to sit at his feet. He asked them to go and tell their stories. He asked them to go and tell his story. And that was not normal back then. Women didn't get to do stuff like that back then. And if he wanted them to do it then, I guarantee you he wants you to do it now.